To my left, Tim Reed was now with Alamo Drafthouse Cinemas. He's been in the industry for many years, seen it from just about all perspectives, and I'm going to call on him to give you sort of an overview of his transition from film into digital. He's been involved in real estate, facilities, and all this, and so what was the impact on your operation? What were you doing at the time, and how did it roll out for you? And I don't want to ask too much at one time, but give us a viewpoint.
Well, I think it's important to understand that at the time that digital was really ramping up, the exhibition industry was going through a pretty large watershed. 1994, we saw the first megaplex come in down in Dallas. The building frenzy began, and the issue that the exhibition industry had is it had to be a first mover status. Unfortunately, a lot of exhibitors had just built multiplexes, 12 and 14 screen theaters, so there was a lot of uncapitalized costs out there, which then took us to 1999, 6 major bankruptcies in the exhibition industry. We're facing digital, which in reality probably slowed it down a little bit because nobody really knew how it was going to be capitalized. Moving forward, the VPF programs became a little more clear on how they were going to be put together. Carmike went out and made their commitment. My first involvement came, we were trying to bring a high-end operation across the water called Gold-Class Cinemas. And we were dabbling in digital. The international community was not entirely sold on digital. They were tried and true in film, but we attempted to do that. Then moving on, and obviously with Alamo Drafthouse, we're known for our alternative content arena and always have been. As far as costs, at the theater level, we haven't seen any major shifts in cost of operation at the theater level, whether it be labor, consumables, but where we have seen cost increases are back of house and G&A because of the complication of the VPF programs, the accounting functions required. But on the positive side of that is that we have been struggling in the attempt to figure out how we silo the different revenue streams from alternative content. We are seeing alternative content become a larger and larger percentage of our revenue streams. And the question is, how do you categorize those? And how do you assign the associated costs to them? So our accounting departments have been going a little crazy with that, but that's a very positive piece of the digital rollout. Speaking to the equipment side, the equipment just gets better and better and better. The presentation better and better and better. Can the general public really tell the difference, or do they really care? I think that's up in the air, but I will tell you this, that they certainly appreciate the fact that when they're in a theater on the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th week of a run, that they're not watching a scratch print run through that machine. So the consistency of presentation is there. The ability to add additional revenue streams is there. We're all juggling that, but it hasn't been a monumental shift in cost or effort.
The Alamo Drafthouse is totally digital now. You're not wearing any film anywhere, of course.
All of our screens are digital, and I will be the one naysayers there. Unfortunately, we do run 35 and 70 millimeter.
How often does that come up?
More often than I like. But we do a lot of retrospective. In fact, I think this weekend we're running It's a Madman World in Ultra Panavision, of all things, 70. So again, that's another alternative content stream. But it's also a brand builder and also a discerning element to what we do. But to answer your question, yes, we're all digital. I think we're 85% 4K.
Wow.
So we're big believers in digital quality presentation.
Do you feel you're spending more money now on technology for sound and picture than, say, before film as a relative percentage of, say, your overall operations?
That's a timeline situation, Bill. You mentioned digital audio.
Right.
And I was with Act 3 at that point in time, and we had more THS screens than anybody else in the country. I was a big believer in presentation, and first you had DTS come out, Dolby, and then SEDS, and I finally just threw my hands up and said, you know what, if I'm going to go into competing markets and really knock out the competition, I'm just going to put all three in, which I did. Probably capital foolish, but at the end of the day, you win the war. But speaking of your question, with digital, with the advent of digital, it has opened up just an incredible playground for new formats, some of which will take off, some of which won't. So exhibitors are having to pick and choose what they want to move forward with. As far as capital costs, I'd actually say it's smoothed out because you don't see these large watershed events such as digital audio come along, where you're converting entirely. At least you have the basis and you have the technology there where now it's either a software or a minor hardware upgrade forward.